The atmosphere around Celtic right now is one of constant movement, discussion, and emotion, and as the next fixture approaches, there is a lot for supporters to take in beyond what happens on the pitch. The build-up to this match is not just about 90 minutes of football, but about decisions, conversations, and tensions that have been simmering for weeks. Inside the club, there has been a clear sense that this period of the season could define how things look going forward, both in terms of results and in the wider relationship between the team, the board, and the support. Recent comments from the manager have added another layer to that discussion. Speaking publicly, he made it clear that he feels comfortable with the current squad after the transfer window, stressing that he believes the group has enough quality and character to compete in what is shaping up to be a very tight campaign. There was no dramatic breakdown of late signings or detailed analysis of every move, but rather a calm insistence that the work done should be trusted. That message, whether supporters agree with it or not, signals that the focus internally is shifting away from recruitment and firmly back onto performances and consistency. One of the new faces has already attracted attention, not because of hype, but because of the way he has been described behind the scenes. The emphasis has been placed on his attitude, his positivity, and the way he carries himself around the training ground. There has been a deliberate decision to keep personal or medical matters private, which feels respectful and sensible, and instead the conversation has centered on how his character could fit into the dressing room. At this stage of the season, having players who bring energy and belief can be just as important as tactical versatility. There was also confirmation that not every transfer target chose Celtic, despite agreements being close. One potential deal was in place, only for the player to decide that staying put was the better option for his own career ambitions. It is not an ideal outcome, and it highlights how the landscape has changed over the years, with clubs having to accept that even well-structured moves can fall apart for reasons beyond their control. Celtic moved on quickly, but it still underlines how competitive and unpredictable modern recruitment has become. Away from incomings, there was significant clarity around outgoing interest as well. Offers for a key midfielder were turned down before they even reached the manager's desk, with the board making a firm call that the player was not for sale. The most encouraging aspect of that situation is not just that Celtic held their ground, but that the player himself has remained professional and motivated. There have been too many recent examples in football where failed moves lead to sulking or dips in form. So hearing that his focus remains on performing for the team is a genuine positive. Speculation will naturally continue about what happens in the summer, especially if interest returns from across the border, but for now the priority is clear. Celtic need the best version of every available player, and that includes those who may have been tempted by other opportunities. In a title race where margins are slim, commitment and concentration can make the difference between success and regret. Another name that has sparked debate is that of a highly experienced midfielder currently without a club. The manager has spoken openly about his admiration for the player, highlighting his background at top clubs and his time training to stay fit. Conversations have taken place, and there is a sense that this is not just idle talk. Experience at the highest level, leadership in midfield, and an understanding of big games are all qualities Celtic could use as the season reaches its most demanding phase. At the same time, there is realism about the situation. Injuries have been part of that player's career story, and personal circumstances play a major role in any decision. The desire to be closer to family and home has been made clear, which naturally complicates Celtic's position. Glasgow is far closer than some previous destinations, but competition from clubs further south could yet prove decisive. Still, the fact that discussions have happened at all suggests there is genuine interest rather than a passing rumor. While football matters dominate headlines, the mood among sections of the support has grown increasingly tense. Calls for unity have been made, but they sit alongside deep frustration about how the club is being run. Meetings between supporter groups have reportedly taken place, and the outcome points towards organized action designed to send a message to the board. A planned boycott and demonstrations indicate just how serious those feelings have become. This situation is deeply divisive, even among fans who share many of the same concerns. On one hand, there is a strong sense of being ignored and disrespected, of decisions being made without proper accountability. For many, withholding attendance or spending feels like the only remaining way to exert influence. It offers a sense of control in a moment where supporters feel powerless. On the other hand, there is the team itself, battling through a fiercely contested season. Celtic remain right in the hunt, and every match carries weight. The idea of withdrawing support at such a critical time sits uncomfortably with those who believe the players need backing now more than ever. The conflict between long-term protest and short-term success is real, and there are no easy answers. All of this unfolds against the backdrop of important fixtures. Results elsewhere have kept the table tight, and upcoming matches present opportunities to close gaps and apply pressure. Training footage has suggested a strong turnout on the pitch, with several players returning to full involvement and new signings getting up to speed. There is a sense that selection decisions will be shaped as much by fitness and sharpness as by form. The likely starting lineup points towards experience in goal, a settled defensive core, and a midfield built around control and energy. Out wide, there are questions about fatigue and rotation, especially after recent exertions, while up front the expectation is that physical presence and work rate will be prioritized. New arrivals may have to wait for their chance, potentially making an impact from the bench as they adapt to the system and intensity. As kickoff approaches, the feeling is one of anticipation mixed with uncertainty. Celtic have a chance to respond on the pitch, to let performance speak louder than noise, but the wider issues surrounding the club are impossible to ignore. The coming days promise strong opinions, emotional reactions, and moments that could shape how this season is remembered, and the story is still unfolding with every decision and every match played. As attention turns more directly toward the match itself, the sense of pressure around the squad is impossible to ignore. Every performance now feels magnified, not only because of the league position, but because of the wider context in which the team is operating. Players are fully aware of the noise surrounding the club, the conversations happening among supporters, and the scrutiny placed on every decision. How they respond to that environment could define the coming weeks. Preparation for this fixture has been intense, with training sessions focused on sharpness and cohesion rather than wholesale tactical changes. There is an understanding that the foundations are already in place, and what is required now is execution. The emphasis has been on tempo, decision-making, and reducing unforced errors, especially in moments where games have previously slipped away. In matches of this nature, control can be just as valuable as flair, particularly away from home, where momentum can swing quickly. Fitness has been a key talking point within the camp. Several players who had been carrying knocks or fatigue are edging closer to full readiness, which offers the manager more flexibility than he has had in recent weeks. That does not necessarily mean dramatic changes, but it does allow for competition in key areas. Knowing that places are not guaranteed can sharpen focus, and that internal battle often translates into higher standards on the pitch. In midfield, the balance between discipline and creativity will once again be central. Celtic have at times dominated possession without fully capitalizing, and the demand now is for more conviction in the final third. Late runs into the box, quicker transitions, and a willingness to take responsibility could all play a role. The presence of experienced figures in that area provides reassurance, but they will need support from those around them to maintain intensity across the full match. Out wide, the expectation is for energy and directness. The ability to stretch the opposition, force defenders into difficult positions, and create space centrally has been a recurring strength this season. However, that requires sharpness and stamina, particularly when fixtures are coming thick and fast. Managing those minutes without losing thread is one of the quieter challenges facing the coaching staff right now. Up front, the focus has been on movement and physical presence. Celtic have shown that they can be dangerous when the striker leads the line aggressively, linking play and unsettling defenders. Service will be crucial, but so too will patience. There may be periods where chances are limited, and staying composed in those moments can prevent frustration from creeping in. Defensively, the message has been about concentration. Small lapses have proved costly in recent games, and tightening up at the back is seen as non-negotiable. Communication, particularly in hostile environments, becomes vital. A solid defensive performance not only keeps the scoreline intact, but can also calm the rest of the team, allowing confidence to grow as the match unfolds. Beyond tactics and selection, there is a strong emotional component to this game. Players know that many supporters are torn, caught between anger at the board and loyalty to the badge. That tension can be felt, even from the pitch. For the squad, delivering a performance full of commitment and fight is one way of reconnecting, of reminding everyone what pulls them together in the first place. The opposition will sense opportunity, as any side would against a Celtic team under scrutiny. They will look to start quickly, to test resolve and feed off any nervousness. Handling that early phase will be important, whether that means slowing the game down, winning simple battles, or asserting control through possession. The first quarter of the match could set the tone for everything that follows. There is also an awareness that results elsewhere continue to shape the narrative. Points gained or dropped by rivals inevitably add weight to every outing. While the focus inside the dressing room remains on what can be controlled, players are not immune to the wider picture. The challenge is to channel that awareness into motivation rather than anxiety. Supporters watching on will be looking for signs of belief. Not perfection, but effort, structure, and a clear plan. In times like these, fans often respond to visible commitment, even when performances are not flawless. A team that runs, fights, and plays with purpose can bridge gaps that words off the pitch cannot. As the hours tick down, anticipation builds alongside uncertainty. This match represents another chapter in a season already defined by drama, debate, and fine margins. What happens on the grass will not erase the issues surrounding the club, but it can influence the mood, the momentum, and the belief that something positive is still possible. With so much still to be decided, every action feels loaded, every moment significant, and the story continues to move forward with the next whistle and the next challenge that lies ahead. What happens next will depend on how well Celtic can keep their focus where it belongs. Performances like this are not about style points or grand statements. They are about doing the basics right under pressure. Winning tackles, making runs, staying switched on defensively, and taking chances when they come. If those elements are there, everything else becomes easier, at least for a while. The sense remains that this season is far from settled, and that twists still lie ahead. Celtic have the opportunity to shape what comes next, but only if they embrace the challenge rather than shrink from it. The noise will not go away, the scrutiny will not lessen, and the demands will not ease. All that can be controlled is the response on the pitch, starting with the next 90 minutes, and whatever they choose to make of them. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers in Glaswegian corridors suggest Celtic might be on the brink of one of their boldest moves in years, with manager Martin O'Neill reportedly prepared to shake up the club to secure a long-term solution between the sticks. According to sources close to the club, O'Neill has set his sights firmly on Manchester City's STEFAN Ortega, seeing the German goalkeeper as the perfect foil to the aging Kasper Schmeichel, who, at 39, is undeniably approaching the twilight of his career. The rumor mill is spinning fast, claiming that O'Neill has made it clear to the board Ortega must be brought in, or he could consider stepping away from his role. It's a dramatic stance, but one insiders suggest is very much in line with O'Neill's character. Someone who does not shy from making decisive calls if he feels the squad is not equipped to compete at the level Celtic aim for. Ortega, whose performances at City have earned him respect in the Premier League, is said to combine agility with a calm presence at the back, attributes that O'Neill apparently believes are crucial if Celtic are to challenge consistently on multiple fronts. Schmeichel, for all his experience and reputation, may struggle to provide the same level of consistency night in, night out, especially as domestic and European demands pile up. The German's potential arrival could signal a generational shift in the club's goalkeeping department, but the stakes are high. O'Neill reportedly feels the move is not just desirable but essential, and it would be a blow to Celtic fans if negotiations stall. The speculation has ignited debate among supporters and pundits alike. Some see it as a bold, almost risky gamble, but others argue that O'Neill is simply recognizing the realities of modern football. Age eventually catches up with even the most celebrated names. In Glasgow pubs and on social media feeds, supporters are already imagining what a Ortega-led backline might look like, and whether Schmeichel will mentor his potential successor or be gradually eased out. While the board has yet to comment publicly, Insiders hint at tense discussions behind closed doors. Celtic, long known for their careful transfer dealings, could find themselves pressured into a high-profile acquisition just to keep a manager of NEILL's stature satisfied. Whether Ortega will swap the blue of Manchester for the green and white hoops remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. Celtic's goalkeeping saga is far from settled, and the coming weeks could prove pivotal for both the club and its legendary manager. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.